Cool. All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's training. I'm going to be talking about how do you reach the point to where you're making $10,000 a month in the surplus funds biz. That's what we're going to be talking about. Got a bunch of people hopping on right now. While we're waiting for them, we'll give them about another minute or so. Let me know in the chat where you're coming in from. And we'll get started here in just 1 minute. Probably going to max out this here in a minute. We got about 26 spots left, so we'll just wait until it is full, and then we'll just move on. And those who missed out, they miss out. It is what it is. Awesome. DC, Maryland, checking in. San Diego, Connecticut, New Mexico, Kansas City, Missouri. Awesome. Another San Diego. No sound. Guys, can you not hear me? If you can hear me, just type a 1 in the chat. All right, cool. Seems like most people can hear me. If you can't hear me, then it's not going to matter what I say because you can't hear me. All righty. All right, I think that's pretty much it. We're pretty much full. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay. All right, guys, you all can see my screen too. All good there. Type a 2 in the chat if you can see my screen. Yes, okay. Very good. 222. Excellent. All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it. All right, so my promise to you is I'm going to show you the exact 5-step process that I follow and that I also teach others to follow to get results like the following, okay? All of these results are from this month alone. These are my deals and partner deals that I joint ventured on with my students, and these are just deals that paid out in the month of August, okay? So we've got this deal. This was a smaller case. This was our net profit, 7,300 on this property. Okay. Again, we're talking about overages and surplus funds here. If you don't know what that is, let me brief you very quickly. When somebody doesn't pay their mortgage payment or they don't pay their property taxes, their house goes to an auction, foreclosure auction. When an investor purchases that property and buys it for more than what's owed to the bank or to the county, the difference between what is owed and what the property sold for is known as a surplus of funds or an overage, okay? It is the amount of money above and beyond the debt that the sale generates. Does that make sense with me so far? So if you don't know what overages is, that's a very high level, brief explanation of what overages are, okay? So we've got this deal here. Here's another one. This was not our total amount. You can see here, this was a recovery of $69,000. Okay. Our portion of that, I think on this one was only about 25%. Okay. So that was not our net. That was the total recovery on that property. All of these properties are in different states as well. Okay. I've never seen these properties, never visited them. I pulled these pictures off of Google Maps. Okay. It's the only time I've seen these properties. You don't have to visit property when you're doing overages or surplus funds because you're not buying anything. You are just helping people recover the funds and getting a commission on the back end. Here's another deal. This was what I would call a home run deal. Anytime you net over $10,000, guys, I would consider that a home run deal. Okay. An average surplus funds deal as far as profit goes should be around 5 to 10K for you. So anything above 10K, that's a home run. This was our net profit on this deal. So this is after attorney's fees, after expenses, 16,000 on this one. And then this was another one. This one was the total recovery. So our portion on this one was only 30% of 31,000. So about $9,000 net profit on this particular deal. Okay. So those are a couple examples. I know that this 5-step process works based on what I've experienced myself. Nothing that I'm going to share with you today is theory, okay? Everything I'm sharing with you is based on my own personal experience and the results that I have gotten in my own business and also helped others in their businesses. Okay. So with that being said, do I have your permission to share the 5-step process with you? Is that cool? Yes. Paul says yes. Tiffany says yes. David says yes. John says yes. Okay, cool. Appreciate that. Here's the elephant in the room. Am I going to sell you something? Here's a real life picture of my son with an elephant in Thailand. Absolutely, I'm going to sell you something, guys. I mean, the definition of sales is the transfer of ownership of title to property from one person to another for a price. So today, I'm going to be transferring my knowledge, my intellectual property of the surplus funds business to you. The price you're going to pay for that is the time it takes you to spend here. Okay, fair enough. So am I selling you something? 100%. Just by providing this information to you is an act of sales. Okay, so I'm just sharing this with you so that you are aware of it, and I have my own purposes. What are my purposes? Well, as I mentioned, a lot of these deals I partnered with people on. Okay, so I like to partner with people on deals because they bring me deals. I help them complete the deal. I make money. They make money. The homeowner makes money. To me, that's a win-win. And I like to do that. And that's why I share this information. There's something in it for me. Okay. All right. So with that being said, we got that out of the way. Elephant in the room. What are the 5 steps that you need to follow in order to get to $10,000 a month? Okay. So let's jump right in. This might be something worth writing down or taking a picture of. We're going to dive deeper into each one, but this is the overview of the process. Okay. I call it the overage profitability formula. So it's C4 plus P equals money. Step 1 is create leads. Step 2 is to conduct research. Step 3 is to contact your leads. Step 4 is to contract your leads. And finally, step 5 is to profit. Okay. Now, let's dive into what do each one of those steps require? What do they mean? Okay. How do you pull them off? First, let's define what a lead is. A lead is anyone who is owed money from the sale of their home, whether it's a tax sale or a foreclosure. That is a lead. Anyone who's owed surplus funds or overages. Okay. How do you get leads? Okay, there's many ways to get leads. Number 1, you can acquire lists online. If you go to Google and just Google surplus funds list, you can find lists of surplus funds online. Not all counties post lists online. Okay. Sometimes you have to request the lists using public records or doing what's called a Freedom of Information Act request, or what's known as a FOIA request, FOIA. That's one way to get leads. Asking for them, finding them on the internet, requesting them via public records requests. Okay. Another way you can get leads is build your own lists by monitoring tax sales and foreclosure sales. Monitor and see which properties sell for more than the debt that's owed to the bank or to the county. Okay. And finally, a third way is you can purchase leads from list providers or from service providers who will go out and get the leads for you, and then they can sell them to you. There's many providers that do that. Okay. So that's step 1, create leads. Make sense? Everyone with me so far? Pretty straightforward, yes? All right. Hopefully I didn't lose any of you already. No one's confused, right? Not yet anyway. Okay. So let's move on to step 2, conduct research. What does this entail? There's 2 steps when you're conducting your research. The first step is you need to determine who is entitled to the surplus. Okay. It could be the owner, but it could also be other people known as lien holders. A lien holder is somebody else who had maybe a debt recorded against the property that was sold. So an example could be a bank. A bank could be a lien holder, so like a second mortgage, okay? Homeowners association, somebody doesn't pay their HOA fees, the HOA can place a lien against the property. And that HOA, if there's a surplus, would be entitled to that surplus. Other examples of lien holders, the IRS, okay? States for state taxes, non-payment of state taxes. I already mentioned banks. Judgment lien holders is another one, okay? So be aware of that, because lien holders often have priority to any surplus funds over the homeowner, okay? That's very important to understand. Okay, so just because there's a surplus, it doesn't mean it automatically goes back to the homeowner. Okay, it's very important to be able to know and discover if there are lien holders, and also know who was the owner at the time of the sale, because sometimes that changes. Okay, sometimes homeowners will transfer ownership in their property before a foreclosure happens. Okay, so it's very important to be able to know how to do that, how to discover that. Now, once you have completed the first part, then you move to the second part, which is discover contact information for the proper claimant. Okay, so once you've verified, okay, you know who's entitled to the money, now you need to go out and find that person. You need to go see, okay, how do I get a hold of this person? What is their contact information? That process of discovering their info is known as skip tracing. Okay, so that's the second part of conducting research. Why is there little green lines on here? It's very strange. Wonder if I did that. All right, let's move on to step 3. Contact your leads. So you've gotten a lead, you've done your research. Now it's time to reach out to the person who's owed the money, okay? And establish communication with them, letting them know who you are and how you can help them recover their funds, okay? In simple terms, this is known as marketing, just letting people know how you can help them, okay? Now, how do you do this? How do you accomplish this step? You pick up the phone, you call them, you send them a text message, you email them. If it's a person that's local to you, you can go to them in person if you desire. Social media is very helpful. Facebook Messenger, LinkedIn Messenger, all of the above. I forgot letters, direct mail, okay? Letters, postcards can also be very effective. Just think of the ways that people try to reach out to you, and all of those ways work in the surplus funds business to contact people, okay? So that's also very important. This step, contacting leads, is probably the step where most people get hung up. The reason being, number one, a lot of us as humans, I'd say most of us as human beings, we don't like being rejected. And so in order to not be rejected, we just don't put ourselves out there in the first place. So a lot of people it's really easy for a lot of people to get leads and to do the research, but when the time comes to actually reach out to folks or to let people know how they can help, they don't do anything, okay? And because they don't do anything, nobody knows who they are, and nobody knows how they can help, and they don't get any deals, is the bottom line, okay? So this step is where a lot of people fall off the map, and because they do not complete the step, they do not have success in this business. All right, make sure everyone's muted here. Okay. Moving on. Are y'all with me so far? Is this making sense? Am I going too fast? Are you all good? Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you're good, or a yes. Good. All right, cool. Don't want to leave anyone behind. Okay. Good. All right, moving on to step 4, contract leads. What this entails is you need to get the proper paperwork signed outlining your agreement between you and the client and what your compensation is going to be, okay? How much are you going to get paid for your services, okay? In most instances, we charge a percentage, so we don't charge anything up front. We only get paid if we're successful in providing a result for our client, okay? An average commission nowadays is between 20 and 30%, okay? With that being said, there you can charge whatever you want to negotiate, really. Now, there are some states that will limit that, okay? So that's good to be aware of. But on average, 20 to 30% is the norm commission on these types of things, okay? Now, on something super small, you know, if you've got something that's like less than 10,000, then you could charge more. If you want to charge 40, 50, cool. Because it's going to be, you're still going to have your expenses, and maybe you need to charge more to cover your expenses. Now, if it's a big overage, okay, like a 6-figure overage, maybe you don't charge 20 or 30%. Maybe you charge 10, okay, or whatever you come to an agreement with your client. And then, of course, there's some other forms that you'll need depending on what type of deal you're working and the state you're working in. You may need a power of attorney. I hardly use those anymore. Sometimes you may use an assignment. Sometimes you might use what's called a retainer agreement between the client and the attorney. Okay. If you're working estate cases, you might need what are called affidavits of heirship, declarations, authorization forms. There's a lot of ways to structure deals, but it's just important that you have the proper paperwork to structure the deal properly. Okay. So that brings us to the final step, which is to profit. Okay. Profit means you're submitting your claim. So you file your claim, preferably through an attorney. There's multiple reasons why you use an attorney. And once you've filed it, once you've passed on the signed paperwork and you've passed it on to your attorney, they get to work dealing with the court or the county or whoever the entity is that's holding the money. And you wait until the money arrives. Okay. And that is the 5-step process. Okay. It's fairly simple, right? It's a fairly simple process, and you just rinse and repeat this process over and over and over again. And that's how you're able to do deals like the ones you saw in the beginning of this presentation. Okay. It is a simple process, but the execution can be difficult, okay? Especially if you're brand new. Everything is difficult when you're learning in the beginning, okay? So it's not easy, but it gets easier as you gain more experience, okay? All right. Now, we've covered the 5-step formula. So you all know the steps. Once you have done the steps, there's a few things for each step that you're going to have to implement eventually in your business. Okay. So let's go over that now. Creating leads. Once you know how to get your leads, guys, what you want to then do is be able to develop a process where either you can gather the leads on demand or you outsource that to someone else so that you are not the one generating the leads. Okay. In the beginning, it probably will be you. For me, it was. Okay. For me, in the beginning, I did every single step on my own. But as you grow, you're going to want to put systems or people in place to help you accomplish these steps. Okay. So like now, I no longer am sourcing leads. I have trained somebody to source leads for me, and they send me leads on a daily basis. Okay. Or I have partners that bring me leads. Okay. There's multiple ways to be able to have someone bring you leads, but it's just important that you get to that point where you're not the one who is dependent on getting the leads. Is that clear? Makes sense? so far? Same goes for step 2. Okay. When you're doing your research, you're skip tracing people. In the beginning, it's important that you do this step yourself so that you can eventually train somebody else to do it for you. Now, it's not always a person that you need as well. Sometimes it's technology. Like we have technology nowadays where you can skip trace multiple people instantaneously. It's pretty remarkable nowadays what you can do and how quickly you can find a huge amount of contact information for a bunch of different people. So that's something you'll also want to do later on, is be able to have somebody do your research and your skip tracing for you. Okay. Or have, if it's not a person, a software or a technology. Okay. And these are all accessible to everyone. You don't have to create the technology yourself. You just have to plug into what's already available to you right now. Step 3, contacting your leads. This you most likely will need a team of people to reach that 10K a month mark. Now, very important to be able to not only have people establishing contact with leads on a daily basis, but it's also important that you follow up with your leads. That is where a lot of people fall off the wagon too. Okay. A big mistake that folks make is they make one call to somebody, maybe they leave a voicemail, and then they stop. They never follow up with that person to see if they even listen to the voicemail, or they never call again. And that's why a lot of people are not successful, is because they don't do any follow-up, or their follow-up is just plain weak. You have to follow up with your potential clients, okay? And you have to develop a system around that. Same with contracting your leads. It's just a matter of getting the paperwork in order and just having a process that's simple so that your clients can complete the documents easily, okay? That could be sending a notary for them, or sending the documents via email or via a electronic signature system like DocuSign, okay? Mailing the documents to them. If they're not techie savvy, great. Mail the forms to them so they don't have to print it off themselves, and have a return envelope included in there so that they can easily sign, put it in the return envelope, throw it in the mailbox, so it's easy for them to get you the paperwork you need to file a claim, okay? And then finally, as you grow, I recommend starting out in one state, okay? Pick one state when you're just getting started, get a deal done there, 2, 3 deals, learn that state, become an expert. Then once you have a process for one state, then you can start moving to other states, okay? So for me, I started out in my home state of Utah, and then I moved into another state, and then another state. And over the last, since 2000, I've been doing this full time since 2017, but I did my first deals in 2015. So however many years ago that is, I guess going on 8 years. In the beginning, I started with one. Fast forward 8 years. Now I've successfully done deals in 16 different states, and right now have 4 pending. Okay. So you don't start wide, you start very narrow and then branch out, get more attorneys on your team, so on and so forth. Okay. So that's kind of a deeper dive into what you need to accomplish for each of the 5 steps in order to reach that 10K a month mark. All right. Are y'all with me so far? Looks like we are. Got the room full still, so we're good. This will be good. Probably wrap it up here soon. Now you're probably asking, does this actually work today? Yes, it does. Sometimes you don't receive checks, okay? Sometimes you can receive wires on your deals. This was one from this month. This was our net profit on this particular deal. Okay. So if you don't like checks, you can ask your attorney if they'll send you a wire. And it doesn't only work for me. It works for other people that have gone through my trainings. This is Sherilyn. She does very well. This top check is the check to the client. The bottom check is Sherilyn's portion. Okay. Works for Marjorie. This was a deal that she got paid on this month. Okay. I think this is the total amount. Oh yeah, 70-30 split. So her share is 30% of that. So that's what, 12, about a 12K payday. And that's just one deal. So that's, you don't have to do multiple deals to reach 10K a month. It can be just one bigger deal or maybe two smaller deals. Okay. If you want, you can go to my YouTube channel and see other people that this has worked for. So the question is, do you see yourself being able to do this? Is this something that could work for you? Could you help people recover their surplus funds from their foreclosure or their tax sale? If you think you could do this, put a 3 in the chat for me. Awesome. Cool. Good deal, guys. So what's next? There's two paths that you can take in anything, guys. You can always take the information you've learned here and go figure it out, go do some deals. Let me know when you have. We'd love to hear from you. Or if you're interested, we can work together and I can help you get your first deals done. It's totally up to you what you'd like to do, okay? Now, if you would like to know how we can work together, say yes in the chat and I can go more into more details about that, okay? Got a few yeses. All right, cool. So I'll talk about that. So I'll talk about kind of the system that I have developed. And rather than just sit here on the PowerPoint, I'll just kind of show you. And for those that don't want to hear me blabber on anymore, I'll throw a link in the chat for you guys as well. So you can do your own due diligence and check it out. And it's in case you have to leave or anything, okay? So here's a chat right here, or excuse me, the link. There's a little special in there because you attended here. So there's a little discount for you. But let me switch my screen over here. This is a system that I've developed, okay? This is my program. Can you all see my screen okay? I switched screens, so it should be not the PowerPoint presentation anymore. So I have a course where I teach the 5-step process, step by step. Let me scroll through all this. These are just some testimonials, people that have gotten results from this program, okay? You can check those out on your own time if you'd like. Again, the link to do so is in the chat, okay? But I want to get down to the bottom here to where it actually, here's the actual curriculum, okay? So this is what I teach you in my program. Obviously, it's good to know the basics, so that's important. We talk about tax overages and mortgage overages, two different types. It's important to know how to do both so that you're not limited and that you can increase your chances of success. Then, of course, I teach you exactly how to find leads, how to get your own lists, how to get lists from the counties, where to find them, okay? So that's in module 1. We cover, okay, how do we get our leads? Module 2 is all about the research phase, skip tracing, how to discover who is the right person that's owed the money, all very important things. We also talk about, okay, how can you contact these people? I provide you scripts so you know exactly what to say, objection handlers, because you're going to have some objections. And here's the biggest objection. So this is a golden nugget for you guys. What do you think is the hardest part about this business? Let me know what you think. Type in the chat. What do you think is the hardest part about this business? Finding leads can be difficult. What else? Consistency, follow through. Yeah, 100%. Closing, follow up. There we go. Couple people hit it on the head. Yep. Lots of people hit it on the head. People don't believe it's real. They don't believe it's legit. It sounds too good to be true. Put yourself in that person's shoes for a moment. They just lost their house to a foreclosure. And then you call them and say, hey, you have money from the sale of your house available for you. To them, it sounds too good to be true. And what's the saying? If it's too good to be true, it probably is. Well, that saying is not necessarily true in this instance. In fact, it's a big detriment to a lot of people. Because a lot of people, their money will just sit. And you would think that they would probably need that money after going through a foreclosure. Okay. And so not only are we trying to help them get their money, yes, but a lot of what we do for folks is also educating them and helping them overcome a false belief. And that's difficult to do. It's very difficult to, when somebody believes something, it's difficult to help them get through the process of letting go of that belief and replacing it with a new belief. That is the most difficult part of this business. Okay. So that being said, it's very important to have a basic script, have a basic understanding so that you know, okay, how can I educate these folks so that they can at least be open to hearing what I have to say. And that's where the scripts come into play. Okay. Then, of course, we've got your contracts. Now, you could go out and you could have an attorney draft all of these forms for you, or you could just download them from here. They're available for you to use. Okay. And then, of course, we talk about how to find attorneys. Okay. So I mentioned to you guys, why do I share this? Well, I like to partner with people because when I partner with people, I make money. But with that being said, the program teaches you how to do the entire process from A to Z. Nothing is left out. You do not have to partner with me. You can take what you learn in the course, implement it 100%, and do deals all on your own and keep 100% of the profits. Okay. So I want to make that clear. I leave nothing out. Everything that you need to successfully start and run a surplus funds business is included in this program. Okay. And then there's a bunch of bonuses that I include in here. Okay. Stuff like, okay, how do you get an LLC? Where can you get a website set up? Where can you get some virtual assistants if you don't want to do everything yourself? Okay. I refer you over to the VAs that I use personally in my business. Okay. So you can plug in. Here's all the partnering, state-specific modules. Okay. And as far as partnering goes, you're not, like I said, you don't have to partner with me. You pick and choose. If you want to partner with one deal, then fly solo, cool. If you want to fly solo right off the bat, awesome. If you say, hey, I want to partner with you on a bunch of deals, great. We'd love to have you. Okay. We'd love to partner with you on a bunch of deals. Here's a bunch of bonuses. These are extremely valuable. I could go and run through what's called a stack and show you guys, hey, this is worth this much. This is worth this much. You've probably all seen that. I will spare you that. Okay. And just let you decide how much it's worth. Okay. The 50 state guide, that gives you all of the laws. Okay. For all 50 states in regards to tax overages, mortgage overages, talks about fee limitations. When you're working with estates, what you need to know. There's a ton of information just in that guide. That's super valuable. Okay. For those of you who want to kind of get a quick start, we even provide you leads. Okay. So in addition to teaching you how to get your leads, there are some leads that are available for you to work. It's in the $1 Million Lead Vault. Okay. And then we've got some extra bonuses talking about unclaimed funds, bankruptcy funds. There's so many other niches within the surplus funds realm that it's important to be aware of. Those are all included as well. Okay. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So that's how I can help you. Okay. I charge $2,000 for my course. Okay. I appreciate you all coming on here live. And the link that I put in the chat will actually give you a discount, okay, on the program. So if you want, you don't have to pay 2,000. You can save $500 today using that link, okay? That'll run through Labor Day, but I just want to put that out there, and I appreciate you joining me. And that's it. That's how I can help you via my program and partnering with you on deals, okay? So I'll put the link again for that. And with that being said, that's all I've got for you guys. We've got some time. If you want to stick around, I am happy to answer questions for you guys. Feel free to use the chat or the Q&A box to post any questions that you have for me, and happy to stick around for a little bit and answer your questions. And if you know how to do the raise hand feature, if you prefer to be live, we can do that too. All right, cool. Questions coming in. Let me increase. Whoa. If we partner with you, is there some additional learning that happens with you along the way? 100% yes. So when we partner, I'll explain more about that for you guys. So you would find and make contact with the individual, and you don't need to close them, okay? Meaning you don't need to have somebody agree to using our services. You just need to get them to say yes to receiving more information about how we can help them, okay? Once you have somebody that's like, okay, I would like to learn more, that's when we step in and we take care of the paperwork. We send them all the information, utilize our website. But what's important there is when we send them paperwork via email, we make sure to CC you on that. So you know exactly how we're structuring the deal. You know exactly what forms we're using, okay? So you're learning through partnering, right? So there's definitely some hands-on learning there as well. And guys, especially if we've got a deal together, and like when I receive communications from the email or when I receive email communication from the attorney, I'll send that to you and kind of explain, okay, here's what's happening right now. Here's what we're waiting on. Here's what we need. So you kind of get to see the deal play out in real time. And if that ain't learning, I don't know what is. So great question. For the lead vault, who can have access to that? Only members of the program have access to the lead vault. Are those leads only if we partner or for solo as well? You can use those leads for whatever you want. If you want to do solo with those leads, by all means, run with them. I think I answered that question. Can you JV and pay for the course? I'm guessing you're asking if can I do a deal and take the proceeds out of my deal and pay for the course? No, you can't. And here's the reason behind that, guys. I'll tell you a story. You know, I actually used to teach people for free. And here's what I found. 99% of the people don't do anything with free information. And it was a tremendous waste of time. And it ended up hurting my business. And so I just said, you know what? I can't teach people for free. You need to have skin in the game in order to be able to partner with me, because I have skin in the game. I've got my reputation on the line. I've got my attorneys. I pay for the attorneys. I pay for the people that send out the paperwork. Like I have expenses, like, and so paying for the program and being able to have the opportunity to joint venture, you need to have skin in the game for that. And so to answer your question, no, we can't partner and take the fee of the course out of your first deal. That's not available. So, but I appreciate you asking. It never hurts to ask. Okay. How long does it take for the money to be released after all the paperwork is submitted? This is a great question. Okay. And this is, you guys have probably seen there's other people that teach about this. Okay. And sometimes they don't always tell the truth. Like I have seen people say you can get paid in 60 days from surplus funds. Not really. Your average case, if it's a straightforward case and your client is the ex-homeowner and there's no liens, it's going to take probably a minimum of 4 months to get paid on your deal. If you're working on behalf of heirs, let's say the homeowner's passed away and you're helping their children get money, plan on a minimum of 6 months to get your money. So this is a really good question, because you need to have proper expectations in this business. This is not a business where you put in work today and you get paid tomorrow. That's not how this business works. You need to have some patience, and I would not recommend just quitting your job and jumping into this full time. I would not do that. If you're in a situation where you're like, hey, I'm not able to pay my bills, I need to find something where I need to make money today, do not get involved in the surplus funds business. Okay? It's very important that you understand that, because it does take time to get these cases paid out. Why does it take so much time? It's because of who's holding the money. County governments, like treasurers, tax commissioners, law firms that are representing banks, and courts, and sometimes state unclaimed fund departments. Those are the people that are holding the surplus funds. Because those are government entities, or law firms are just not very efficient, and neither are government entities. And so we don't control when we get paid out. And because we don't control that, and because governments are inefficient, it takes a while to get the money. Okay. So it's very important that you understand that. Here's a good question. What are the qualities that you find in people who are most successful? Really good question. Consistency. People who can do the simple steps, the simple 5-step process I teach, who can repeat that on a consistent basis, those are the people who are most successful. One of my most successful students, there's several videos of him on my YouTube channel. His name's Elmer. The man is a beast, okay? But he doesn't do anything out of the ordinary. He just developed a system, and he implements his system day in and day out, and is just incredibly consistent. And he has gotten extremely good results. Me and him partner together on all of our deals, and he's made well over 6 figures. I've paid him 6 figures in the amount of deals that we've done together. And it's because he's just consistent. Another aspect I've noticed is a lot of successful students actually incorporate their family into the business. So like, could be a spouse, or it could be their children, like their teenage kids or their young children, young adults. They'll bring their family in, and they'll teach their kids, hey, I need you to go get leads, or I need you to do skip tracing. And they make it kind of a family endeavor, and they're extremely successful with that. And it's really cool that it's kind of, because number one, you're spending time with family, which is great, right? But then they're also developing skills, and they're watching mom and dad work hard. They're working hard with mom and dad. They're making money. Mom and dad's making money. It's just super cool to see. And I've noticed that in a lot of successful folks is they incorporate their family into it in some way, shape, or form. So I know there's some people that, you know, give advice and say never hire a family member in your business. I don't know if that's great advice. I mean, there's many of my most successful students work with their family members. So what if we are already a student of yours? Great question. If you're already a student, make sure that you are completing the action steps at the end of each module, okay? Because that will ensure that you're doing the work that will allow you to move forward. And I would love to partner with you on deals. If you're already a student, you have access to partnering with me and you have access to the training. So you can go back to it as much as you need and refresh yourself and start again if you need to. If you've stopped, start again. Pick up where you left off, okay? The county not only furnishes the forms we need, but a course to set up an overage business. Have you ever heard of this? I've not heard of that. Your county requires you to go through a course? I've not heard of that. That's something new. I've learned something new today. That's very interesting. I'd be interested to know what county that is. Do you negotiate the split with partnering or should we do that? If you end up negotiating it, totally cool. If you want us to handle it, we can do that as well. Not a problem. Nick, I have the course. How can I partner with you? Okay. If you're already a member of the course, log into the course, go to section 7, partner on deals, and watch the first video right here. It says partner on your deals, deal criteria and instructions. Check that out if you're already a member and you want to partner. All right. Let's see, the link's not working. All right, I'll put the link in again. Hopefully it works. Where is the script in the course? The script is in module 3. Are the leads in every county? No, I don't have leads for every county. That would be awesome, but there's over 3,300 counties in the United States, and I don't work in all 3,300. I mean, I'm happy to work there, but I don't have leads for all 3,300. That would be cool though. How much does it cost to partner with you if you're a member of the course? So normally it's $2,000 for the course. If you use that link that I put in the chat, it's $1,500 today. Okay. How much should you, let's see, I answered that already. Who do we say we work with when we call a claimant? That's a really good question. Guys, I would, when you're talking to someone, try to just, what I would recommend is introduce yourself by your name. Okay. Now you may be, now some of you are probably thinking, shouldn't I say the business name or whatever? You can. I mean, I understand where it's like, okay, you want to sound legit, right? But the problem is when you go off on a spiel and you're like, hey, I'm so-and-so with XYZ Corporation, you sound like a telemarketer. And so how do I often open up a call with someone? When somebody says hello, I say, hi, Jen, or hi, Tom. I just say their first name. And then they'll say, yeah. It's like, hey, it's Nick. I'm calling about this property. And I just go right into it. Okay. I would introduce yourself by your first name. Be on a first name basis with your clients. Doesn't have to be so formal. Okay. Because when you're formal, you sound like a telemarketer. You don't want to sound like a telemarketer. the very beginning of your journey, how many leads did it take to obtain $10,000 in a month? This is a really good question. And here's another thing I want to, let me couple this with another question that a lot of people have. A lot of people will wonder, how long is it going to take me to see results? Okay. Well, based on what I mentioned earlier, right? Like it's going to probably take at least 4 months from the time you submit a claim to the time you see your check. Okay. And it might take you a month or two, or however long it takes you to get through the material and implement it. So it might be 6 months before you see your first deal. Okay. In order to get 10K a month, now you could get 10K on your first deal. I've had many students that do that, but 10K consistently, guys, it's probably going to take about a year of consistent work. Okay. So be aware of that. If you want this to be something that is consistent for you, provides a consistent income stream, you need to fill your pipeline with leads, and then you need to keep your pipeline full. Okay. And that can take a little bit. So, and that's why, I mean, this is a tough business, guys, because it requires a lot of patience on your end. It requires a lot of doing without seeing instantaneous results. And that is very hard, especially in our day and age, right? We are used to instant results. Unfortunately, the overage business does not produce instant results. Okay. A deal that you get signed today, you probably won't see, like I've mentioned already, it's going to be several months before you see that check. Okay. And most people can't deal with that. So, but I didn't answer the second part of that question. How many leads did it take to obtain 10K in a month? It's not how many leads, it's how many conversations do you have with potential clients. Okay. That is what will lead to getting a deal, is the amount of conversations you have with people who are owed money. If you're really good on the phone and you're really good at sales or whatever, you should probably get a deal. And this is just an estimate. It could be more, it could be less. But as kind of an average, if you talk to 10 people who are all entitled to money, 10 different people, you should get at least one deal. That's if you're good. If you're like me, you're very introverted, you're not great on the phone. Okay, you're probably gonna have to talk up to double. So probably 20 people to get one deal. Okay. And that, as time goes on, you get better, you get more confident. But if you're just like have zero skills, you probably need to talk to at least 20 people to get one deal. Okay. Is there a link to details on your JV offer? Yes, there should be a link to the course in the chat here. So. All right. What time is it? Okay, 6:55. Is a signed fee agreement form needed before we turn it over to you for partnering? No, we handle the paperwork for you. Okay. So we send out the agreements and everything on your behalf. You don't have to do that. Here's a very specific question. I contacted someone who knows a claimant and the foreclosure. Another person contacted them about the overage, but they didn't sign. I reminded them about the deadline for getting the claim in, make sure their attorney's aware of it. I sent an email to the contact who's not the claimant, and they assured me they would get the information to the claimant. What are your thoughts on this scenario and how would you proceed? If I was in your shoes, I would be trying to find the actual claimant and getting a hold of that claimant. Because ultimately you want to establish communication with the actual person who's owed the money, right?
It's
So
in litigation, by the way.
it's in litigation.
Yes, that's what they told me. So they're yeah, it's with an attorney and they're in litigation fighting the foreclosure. And I contacted this one of the relative potential relative or friend or somebody, and they informed me about the litigation. And however, I don't know how close those two people are. I don't know whether you know whether she's just fielding and kind of acting as a filter for these calls or what. So that's kind of like where so I sent an email and I basically said, told her who I was, what I'm doing. And she asked me what my fee was. I told her.
Nice.
Knowing that somebody else already called her, I went below what I thought the standard would be in order to kind of entice that claim, just in case they decide they want to go with me or to go with it. So, but I thought it was most important to remind them that there was a deadline coming up on January 10th, and I wanted to make sure their attorney was aware of that. So try to be of value to them at least.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yep, I love that. Um, I I would still I'd still try to get a hold of the claimant, and the reason is if the litigation is to try and reverse the foreclosure, I'd still want to get in touch with them in the event that they are not successful in reversing the foreclosure. Because
Right.
then they might want to utilize you for your services. So I'd still try to get a hold of the claimant. Just let them know, hey, I hope everything goes well. I hope you can reverse the sale. But if you're not able to, here's how I can help you.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Is there a yearly discount or special for the monthly surplus coach calls? You could pay you could pay a year in advance if you wanted, but I don't have any current discounts on it. Do you ever have to spend money up front before the deal pays out? Sometimes, yes. So a lot of my attorneys work on contingency, meaning they get paid when the surplus pays out. Some of my attorneys require a retainer that could be $500, could be $1,000, but that's the minority. So sometimes there's legal fees that have to be paid. If you mail paperwork to clients, obviously that's an upfront cost, right? So if you send something via priority mail, that's going to cost you $10. 20 if you include a return envelope. As far as other fees, if there's like if there's something that if there's like a really advanced case, or if there's a case where I can't access the court or the county records to determine if there's liens, maybe it's in a rural area and I can't get that online. In some cases, I will order a title search after the person is signed up, and that can cost money, but that's not every deal. Okay. So case by case basis as far as upfront costs. Do I have to have an LLC? You do not have to have an LLC to start, although I would recommend getting one. I'd say, if you're when you get your first deal, I would take some of your profits, use that to go open up an LLC. For multiple reasons, right? I mean, obviously to be legitimate. So if someone looks you up and they see, oh, if they see your business is registered in your state, all right, cool. That's a level of credibility that you can get very easily. It's just by having an LLC. You can open up a business bank account once you have an LLC, and that way you can keep your business funds separate from your personal funds. That's important. And there's a bunch of other reasons too for legitimacy purposes. But in order to get started, you don't have to have an LLC. You can operate as an individual. Okay? But I would recommend an LLC eventually. So I think I answered this as far as like when you're talking to someone, how do you introduce yourself? I wouldn't say you're with a company unless they ask, what company are you with? I would just introduce yourself as you, first name basis, personalize, be personable. Okay. Don't sound like a telemarketer. So partnering entails generating the lead for more information and passing it on to you. Yes. So you make contact with the individual, let them know they have a surplus, and ask, is it okay if we send you more information about how we can help you? Then you pass it on to us. Okay. You keep a ledger for the deals in your pipeline? 100%. Yep. We have like if you're, and someone answered really good. If you're on a budget, you can of course use Google Docs, Excel spreadsheet. That's a free way to keep track of things. As time goes on, you can utilize what's called a CRM, custom relation management software. There's lots of free versions of those. We use something that is kind of a combo where we can keep track of leads, but we can also perform automated follow-up to them. And one of these days, I'll be having another training on the actual software that I use. So stay tuned for that. Biggest expense in the beginning to me is the cost of skip tracing and using a dialer. Yeah, there are websites that are free skip tracing, but obviously they're not the best. So it is good to pay for a skip tracing software if you have that ability. It's really good. Dialer's great too. I think, what's a dialer cost nowadays? $30 a month. I guess it depends on the dialer. Here's a good question. I assume clients are generally bad off. Do you ever pay them anything upon signing them up or to get them to sign? It's actually very rare. It's very rare that I have to offer like what's called a buyout or cash up front to get somebody to sign my agreements. I can count on one hand how many times I've had to do that. It's not as common as you would think. When we partner with you, is there an upfront cost for the use of any attorneys? No. So when you partner with me, all the attorneys are paid by me, not by you. So that's one benefit of partnering is if you're concerned about legal fees, I handle all the legal fees if you partner with me. So will we get a copy of the video sent to us, or will you post it? Yeah, I'll probably post it on YouTube. Thought the assignment and contract has to be notarized. Depends on the state you're working in. Not necessarily. It's fine if you notarize everything, but is it required? No, depending where you work. When we partner, can we get paid to our LLC? Yeah, absolutely. That's not a problem at all. All right. Cool, guys. I think I got through all of them. Well, I appreciate y'all taking time out of your Thursday evening to hop on. All right, one last question. Who files the documents with the county? I do, or your attorney if you're working on your own. Cool. Well, I appreciate you guys. Again, the link is in the chat if you want to take advantage of that special. And I hope you learned something. So we talked about the 5-step process. Did you all learn something? Did you get value? Did I make good on what I said I was going to do here today? Yes? All right. Good deal. Awesome, awesome. Cool, Ray. Good to have you on board. Look forward to partnering with you, Ray. All right. Cool, guys. Well, yeah, I will I'll post this on the YouTube if you want to catch the replay, or if you join late, just YouTube my name, just Google my name, Nick Fullmer, or Overage Syndicate. That's the name of my YouTube channel. you're probably all on my email list already. It's probably how you got here. So I won't bug you with that. But I appreciate you all taking time out of your day. Thank you for your questions, for your feedback. Hope you got some value out of this, and have a wonderful night and have a safe and wonderful Labor Day weekend. We'll talk to you later.